Do you know that moment when everything seems to collapse at once? When you ask yourself, what else can still go wrong? I've been there too. But it was precisely in that dark place that I discovered a truth that changed everything. The universe is not against you. It is trying to realign you. I can never forget that day. The phone rang with bad news. My bank account was overdrawn. Relationships were crumbling. Opportunities were evaporating. Everything, absolutely everything, seemed out of control. And the question echoing inside me was devastating. Why is this happening to me? For a long time, I believed that when things went wrong, it was a sign of punishment, bad luck, or that I simply wasn't good enough. But today I see things with different eyes. Today I know that apparent chaos can be the beginning of the most powerful restructuring of your life. Back then, all I felt was pain. The feeling was like walking through emotional quicksand. The more I struggled, the deeper I sank. My vibration kept plunging. Unknowingly, I fed thoughts of scarcity, fear, and guilt. I questioned the universe as if it had forgotten me. But it was precisely there at the bottom of my vibrational well that I began to realize something. Something within me was still standing. Even destroyed on the outside, there was an intact spark inside. And that flicker told me, "You are not here by accident. This too shall pass." I decided to listen to that voice. Even weak, even hurt, even in tears, I chose to trust. And that choice marked the beginning of a turnaround. I started studying manifestation, co-creation, and how our external reality reflects our energetic frequency. I learned that the universe is not punishing us, it is responding to our vibration. And that often it allows the old to collapse to make space for the new. Then I realized things were not going wrong. They were slipping out of my control, which is very different because, in truth, I never had control. I was just trying to force life to follow my plan. But the universe's plan was greater, much greater, and when you understand that, something shifts. You stop resisting and start aligning. Here's what I did in practice. I stopped fighting reality. I simply accepted, not as someone giving up, but as someone who understands. This is here to teach me something. Then I started observing my thoughts. How many times a day did I mentally repeat nothing works out? How often did I reinforce scarcity, defeat, fear? It was as if I was constantly sending the universe this message. Give me more of what I don't want. And the universe, obedient, responded to my vibration, not to my desperate words. That's when I decided to reverse the flow. Even amid chaos, I began cultivating small moments of gratitude. Not because everything was okay, but because I wanted to vibrate like someone who believes she will stay. I thanked the bed I slept in, the air I breathed, the strength that remained in me. And little by little, something inside me began to rise again. I began to visualize, not with anxious expectation, but with love. I pictured how I wanted to feel. I envisioned peace, lightness, emotional freedom. It didn't matter how or when. What mattered was keeping this image alive within me, and you know what happened. My outer reality began, slowly, to align with that new internal vibration. Small doors began to open. Unexpected solutions arrived. New people appeared. But above all, I became a new person. That was the real miracle, because sometimes the universe lets everything fall apart, so you finally remember who you are. Today I understand that when everything seems to be going wrong, it's the universe screaming, "Change your course." When nothing unfolds as you hoped, perhaps it's because what you desire is too small compared to what you truly deserve. When the ground disappears, the sky draws near. When pain arrives, healing is being prepared. And you don't need to wait for everything to collapse to realign. You can begin now, amid chaos, amid fear, amid the mess. Just breathe, reconnect, and declare with all your soul, even without understanding, I trust. Even without seeing, I believe. Even in tears, I choose to keep my vibration high, because that is what transforms. That is what turns the game around. That is what opens the invisible portals. If this message already touches your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe now and activate notifications, because I will show you how to transform your pain into power and realign your vibration with your desired reality. After that first awakening, the journey didn't become easy overnight, but it became lighter, because now I knew I was no longer fighting against life. I was learning to flow with it. The most important lesson I understood is that when everything seems to go wrong, you need to stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this here to teach me?" That shift in questioning changes your frequency. It shifts you from the role of victim to the role of learner. And when you embody that role, everything begins to reorganize. I remember one morning I woke up with a heavy heart. I had gone to sleep crying, feeling lost in the world. I sat at the edge of the bed and whispered softly, "I don't understand any of this, but I refuse to keep vibrating pain." And in that exact moment, with tears still on my face, I did something simple but powerful. I began to breathe, slowly and deeply, with presence, with intention. Every inhale was a choice to begin again. Every exhale, a release of what no longer served me. And there, in that state of presence, I heard my soul for the first time in weeks. It told me, "You are being prepared." That phrase became my mantra. On days when everything seemed to collapse, I would remember, I am being prepared. I am being strengthened. I am being aligned with something much greater. And I truly was. Because what seemed like the end was the beginning of my internal reconstruction. I began to understand that reality is not punishing you. It is revealing where you still lack vibrational alignment. For example, if you keep manifesting scarcity, you may still hold deep limiting beliefs about worthiness. If relationships continue to hurt, you may need to reconnect with self-love. If everything feels stuck, maybe it's time to release control and trust the flow of life. Nothing is random. Everything that happens, even what hurt, is inviting you to realign. The universe is always saying, raise your energy level, elevate your thoughts, update your choices. And this is when the power of decision comes in that moment when everything seems to collapse. You have a choice: surrender to despair or align with your inner strength. I'm not saying ignore pain. It's not about being toxic positive and pretending everything is okay when it's not. It's about feeling, but not sinking. It's about crying, but not forgetting who you are. It's about accepting the chaos, but keeping your heart anchored in faith. I began writing letters to the universe. Yes, letters. I took paper and pen and started with, "Dear universe, I don't understand anything right now, but I want to trust. Show me the way. Show me the lesson behind this pain. I am willing to realign." And you know what happened? I finished writing and felt peace. It was as if my soul said, "Now we are in this together." Because when you connect with the universe with sincere intention, it responds. And it doesn't have to be through big miracles. Sometimes the answer arrives as a message you read, a video that pops up, a call, an idea that appears from nowhere. But you have to stay open. You must keep your frequency receptive. That's why I held on to small rituals. Simple, yet meaningful. Morning ritual. Before anything else, I placed my hand on my heart and said, "Today I choose to vibrate lightness. Today I choose to trust." That already shifted my energy. Evening ritual. Even if the day had been hard, I wrote 3 things I was grateful for. Because gratitude is the key that opens all doors. It anchors you in the present and reconnects you with what's already good. Vibrational ritual. During the day, I listened to affirmation audios. I allowed my mind to be reprogrammed. Even while doing other things, those words entered my subconscious and transformed my vibration. These small habits saved me. They reminded me every day that I wasn't lost, I was in process. And over time, I noticed a pattern. The more I surrendered to the process, with faith, the faster the flow returned. Not because I deserved more, but because I had let go of resistance and stepped into the flow. And when you're in the flow, you begin to manifest what once seemed impossible. You start to attract people who vibrate like you. You start to have ideas that move you forward. You begin to see opportunities where before you only saw blocks. Everything changes because you changed inside, and then you realize nothing was going wrong. Everything was realigning. Everything was awakening you. Everything was preparing the ground for your expansion. It's curious how, once you awaken to your vibrational power, you begin to see life with different eyes. The same situations that once knocked you down now become invitations to expand. And that doesn't mean you become immune to pain. It means you now know what to do with it. I began to notice that whenever everything seemed to go wrong, I had disconnected from myself. I had left my center. I stopped listening to my intuition. I forgot to honor my energy. And the universe, as wise as it is, uses discomfort as a spiritual alarm. It doesn't punish. It awakens. It shows you through conflict where you are ignoring your truth. So I began practicing silence. Yes, instead of rushing to fix everything, instead of seeking 1,000 solutions outward, instead of drowning myself in social media to numb what I felt, I simply sat with myself. No noise, no judgment, no rush, just me, my breath, and my soul. And little by little, I accessed answers that would never come from the external world. I realized I was seeking security in the wrong places, in money, in others' approval, in overloaded routines. but none of those can sustain peace. True security comes from being aligned with who you are, with your original vibration, with your inner truth. And look, that truth is not always comfortable. Sometimes it will ask you to let go, to say no, to change course, to step away, to let die what you have forced to stay alive for too long. And that hurts. It hurts because our ego seeks stability, but the soul wants expansion, and expansion demands detachment. It requires courage. It demands faith. And it was at that point that I noticed a recurring pattern. Every time everything seemed to go wrong, it was because I was resisting something that needed to change. I clung to relationships that had served their purpose. I held onto jobs that made me sick. I kept habits that drained my energy. And the universe, with all its wisdom, came and uprooted everything. But it was not punishment. It was liberation. The pain was the alarm. The crisis was the portal. Confusion was the beginning of clarity. That's when I understood. Chaos precedes alignment. The fall comes before restructuring. Silence comes before the answer. And you need to trust these pauses. On the days when everything seems to go wrong, I invite you to do this. Stop resisting. Say to yourself, I accept what is here now, even without understanding. I choose to trust. Acceptance is the first step toward change. Embrace what you feel. Do not run from emotions. They are not enemies, they are messengers. Feel, cry, right? But do not abandon yourself in the midst of it. Elevate your frequency intentionally. Even if everything is collapsing, you can still choose how to connect with your energy. Play a song that uplifts you. Take a mindful walk. Breathe deeply. Every small gesture of self-love changes the field around you. Ask powerful questions to the universe. Instead of complaining, ask, what is this trying to teach me? Which part of me needs healing? How can I realign with the flow now? These questions open portals. They shift your perspective. They take you out of victimhood and place you in the field of co-creation, and gradually, you notice that nothing was really going wrong. Everything was just out of place, the place of your truth. I remember the day when, after months of crisis, I looked in the mirror and said out loud, I refuse to live a small life just because I'm afraid to change. That day, I decided to do a deep cleanse in my reality. I let go of everything that no longer resonated with my new vibration. It hurt, but it was liberating, and it was in that void, created by the courage to let go, that the new began to arrive. Aligned projects, lighter relationships, peace, lightness, meaning, and then it all made sense. Life was not against me. It was just showing me that I was living below my true vibration. And maybe, if you feel that everything is going wrong now, it is because it's time for you to also evolve. And evolving requires new choices, new thoughts, a new frequency. And above all, it asks you to decide not to give up on yourself. Because when you choose to align even amid chaos, you become a beacon. And beacons don't flee the storm. They guide in the end. Everything that seemed to go wrong was only leading me to my true path. And today, looking back, I understand. It wasn't the end. It was the rebirth, because every pain taught me to be more conscious. Every no pushed me toward the yes that truly belonged to me. Every void taught me to fill myself from within. And this is what I wish for you to feel now. Even if everything seems dark, lost, confusing, there is a light, and that light is within you. You don't need to wait for everything to improve to start feeling good. You can choose right now to vibrate a little higher, breathe with more presence, speak with more intention, feel with more love, because everything changes. When you change, what once seemed like chaos becomes clarity. What seemed injustice becomes awakening. What seemed like the end becomes the beginning. I want to remind you of something very important. You are a co-creation of the universe. You are not at the mercy of chance. You are part of the flow of life. You manifest what you vibrate. And your vibration is a choice even in the toughest days. When you decide to vibrate faith even in doubt, gratitude even amid chaos, trust even without knowing how, you shift the field. You change the energy, and the universe responds. Because the universe does not react to what you desire with fear. It responds to what you believe with faith. And faith is not the absence of fear. Faith is moving forward despite fear. Faith is saying, I don't see it yet, but I know it's coming. I don't understand yet, but I trust the process. I don't know the full path, but I take the next step with courage. This is the mindset of a winner, not because she never falls, but because she always chooses to rise with more wisdom. I learned to love myself in my darkest days. I learned to trust the invisible. I learned to transform pain into strength and fear into direction. And today I know all that seemed to be going wrong was only preparing me to live the best. Now I want to leave you with a simple but powerful exercise for when everything seems to go wrong. Realignment exercise. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. Place your hand over your heart and say, I am safe. I am supported. I release everything that binds me to fear. I choose to trust the flow of life. Visualize a golden light completely surrounding you. Feel this light reconnecting you to your essence, and now declare, even if I cannot yet see, everything is organizing in my favor. Even amid pain, I choose to vibrate love. I am a magnet for solutions, blessings, miracles. Thank always for life, for the lesson, for the strength, for the next phase that is on its way. This exercise saved me many times, and I hope it saves you too, because in the end, pain does not define you. Doubt does not diminish you. Chaos does not stop you. All of this is just temporary scenery. Your deepest truth is different. You are a living manifestation of creative consciousness. You are a child of the universe. You are energy in expansion. And when you remember that, when you reconnect with that essence, nothing truly shakes you. You may sway, but you will not fall. You will feel, but not lose yourself. You may doubt, but you will not give up. You keep going with faith, with intention, with love, and that is how everything transforms. If today is hard, remember, what seems like the end is only the turn of the page. You will still be surprised by what is yet to come. Trust the process. Trust divine timing. Trust your power of co-creation, and if someday, down the road, you look back, you will see that everything that seemed to go wrong, in truth, was the universe pushing you straight to your alignment. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe, activate notifications, and never disconnect from your highest vibration again. The universe is listening, and it responds to your powerful intention.